All right, we need everybody to go to your holy tablets. We're going to go to chapter 2, tablet 1. We're going to start with verse 9, but not right this very instant. I'd like to know who else has a spiritual experience they'd like to share with the rest of the class this evening. These are very serious times, sometimes trying times, very eventful and very meaningful times.
Well, I had one last night about 20 minutes into me sleeping. It was like a cat had got on my back and it tried to smuggle my face, right? And I was struggling trying to wrestle it off me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was real crazy. After I got it off me, I felt it was a lot of cotton in my mouth. It was crazy, man.
You felt it was a lot of what? Is it tightening you said in your mouth?
I felt like it was like some fur balls in my throat or something. After I wrestled it off.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want you to understand one thing, son. We all create our own reality. And you have to understand that energy returns to the source of energy. Regardless of what kind of energy it is, if it's negative or positive energy, it returns to the source of energy, right? So, a lot of times, you could be, because you're influenced by the atmosphere that you're in society, that we could, when you listen to the news and you hear other people speaking in the workplace, at school, and on your job, it's like taking secondhand smoke. It still has an effect on you. When you say, well, I don't really watch the news, I don't really watch negative things, I'm not around negative people, you can't avoid negative people. They come in many forms. And as far as negative influences, you have satellite TV. You follow me? You have cell phones. The example I like to give is you're sitting in your house and you have two neighbors on either side of your house, and they get into an argument. I'll kill you, so-and-so, this, that, and the other. Now, those waves, do you think when they go through your wall to reach one another, do you think they go around you or through you?
Through.
Exactly. They affect you negatively. You follow me?
Yeah.
When you turn on your TV, regardless of day or night, it comes on instantly, doesn't it? And if you have cable, you have hundreds of different channels you can choose from. All the programming is not positive. Well, the fact that you can turn it on any time of day or night 24/7 means that they're transmitting 24/7. You follow? And like those cell phone waves, they don't go around you because your brain is a transmitter and receiver. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's the most etheric organ you have in your body. If it comes outside of the skull, it'll just lay there helplessly. The two halves will separate. There's no muscle, bone, sinew. There's nothing in it to hold it together. It's almost 100% water. And water's a great conductor. But what it is a transmitter-receiver. You follow?
Mm.
And it doesn't edit out what it receives. Or, you hope what it does what it transmits, but not what it receives. So you have to learn to develop a psychic defense. A psychic self-defense, right? And the way that you do that, the approach would not be that you want to get rid of darkness if that's what the child is afraid of. So what you have to learn how to do is turn on the light. Because it accomplishes two things. When the light comes on, what happens to the dark automatically?
It goes away.
Exactly. And the fear with it. At the same time, you got the child focusing on light rather than darkness. So my point is that we don't want to learn how to issue evil or get rid of or reject or block evil. But to think about positive things all the time. And these packages that I send you all, I'll send you lots of DVDs and CDs that you can play all night in your car or when you walk. And as long as the light is on, the darkness can't penetrate. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right. So you can't stop. Let me be clear. You can't stop negative programming. But you do have the power to, in effect, turn on positive programming all day and night to counteract it. That's your only psychic self-defense against the time and the place that we're in. you have to remember that this is the armpit of creation. I'm serious about that. So all throughout the cosmos, and all these vast and variegated galaxies and universes and on parallel universes and different planes of existence, all these different worlds and times, there have always been people that are negative, and they've been rejected by their societies. And they were cast out of the heavens, all of the heavens at one time, and earth itself is where they were cast down. This is a penitentiary for wayward angels. You know? So you all, somebody look up the Bible. I mean, you can find out that all the fallen angels, they were cast down to where? Let me hear some people say that they know.
Earth.
Exactly.
Earth cast down here.
So where the young was, please read your phone. So you know where they are. These are the fallen angels. And these people are running around pointing the fingers. It's him over there, it's her, it's this one, it's that one. But you know, the vampire can't see his own reflection. You know where they don't look? They never look in the mirror. You see, that's the problem at the root of the difficulty. That is the difficulty at the root of the problem. Nobody's the devil here, you follow me? Everybody in penitentiary is innocent. I hope you can hear me with your good ear, because this is a serious lesson tonight. But my job and mission is to help you all make that journey within, recenter yourselves on what you actually are. You really are the all, and as such, you are God's. If you just forget about what it is you're projecting, or you've been programmed to believe, you follow the only reality is divine love. Everything else is mere illusion. This is what you created in your mind. It's all in your mind. You have to change your mind and your thoughts, because the things that you look at will never change until you change the way that you look at things. Are you following me?
Yes.
So stop looking for the devil outside of you and pointing at this group or this individual, and that's where the problem is coming from. When in reality, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Okay? And this is something you should also know. There's only one devil that can get you to hell, and which one is that?
You.
Your own devil. That's the only one that can get you to hell. Okay? If you could just focus on those realities, you might get a lot further and a lot faster. I'm not saying it's not a difficult thing to rationalize or realize, but nobody said this thing was easy. But it is doable. All right. Now, I'll have some of you learned students tell me. Let's go to how do we get out of here, right? How do we get back to our long home? How do we get back to heaven? Before time get beyond repair. How do we stop these cats and things from grabbing us in the dark and tormenting us and all these negative energies and thoughts from our listeners, okay? Now, if you can go to Holy Tablets, chapter 2, tablet 1, verse 9, it states, and I want you to listen so that if you have questions, we can throw some light on it. You must know that in the lunar logging of the 5th point in the month of May, and everybody that's been with me for years, you know when I was taken up the last time, right? 3/26/13. All right, that's significant. Remember that date. You must know that in the lunar logging of the 5th point in the month of May, when the planet called Gaia, a living organism, a living organism, also spelled Gaea, positions itself in the location of revolution of the planet called Earth in the year 2000 AD of the Gregorian calendar, and the gate, and what you refer to as heaven, and this great vortex went opened in 2003. Of course, this was written before 2003. 2003 of the Gregorian calendar. And the planets will have realigned themselves in the day of 5/5/2000 the great Gaudobot cherubims will be excused. They will be disarmed, won't be any more power to hold back the truth. And their flaming swords shall sway from the tree of eternal life. That means it's time for you to enter. And it shall open once again the throne of AMUN. This will be the alignment of the major planets and the mothership Nibiru, whose diameter is 63,408 miles. Well, the diameter of Earth is roughly 7,000 miles. You do the math. This craft is 63,408 miles and can make itself bigger or smaller. We'll be nearing your solar system and waiting on the other side of the asteroid belt. This is all real. That might sound like fiction to you, but I'm a witness, and I will stand here to bear witness to this reality. On the other side of the asteroid belt, which is the necklace of the firmament beneath the firmaments, for the time which will be in the lunar logging of the 12th point in the month of August, when the planet called Earth positions itself in the location of its own revolution in the year 2003 AD. Now, why are we going to increments of 10? Because in 1943, during the Philadelphia experiment, there was a space-time rift continuum opened up, and then the vortex started opening up rhythmically every 10 years. In other words, 1943, 1953, 63, on 2013, and so what year is it now, family?
23.
That means the vortex opens up this year. That's the significance of the time. Are you following me? You're not here a second too soon. And I tell you, don't leave. When this vortex will reopen, it's 2013, I know because I was taken up then too, along with the one you call Malachi. It is then that the Shams passenger craft will reach the planet Earth, coming forth to you for the rebirth of the elite few, the 144,000, from the moon base, forming the six-pointed star and crescent moon in the sky as your sign. I saw that also in Brooklyn in 1981 and 83. On the bill, you had 400 species broken up into three sets of 144,000. You have the Agigi, and those are the ones that are Anunnaki that revolve around the Earth on orbital platforms. Of the 210 that were cast down, only 10 went back, but there was 100. There was really 310. There was 100 that maintained the orbital platforms, and they were only spiritual. And they only come down to possess people. These are the ones that are troubling you, basically, in your sleep, and me even in the daytime. In the doctor's offices, for example, I was in the office with Dr. Patrice Body. Very negative little witch or whatever it is, however you want to describe the little yellow sucker. But, when I was sitting in the chair in the room, she tried to get me to go lay down on this examination bed like I did before, but that was a bad experience, so I wouldn't repeat that. She wanted to check out my back and hear my heart rate, so I told her I'll stand up and pull my shirt down, so I did that. She was a very short little woman, and she was trying to listen to my heartbeat through my back. But when I turned around, she was the same height as me, maybe even taller, but it wasn't a female. But this was not a physical, she didn't have a solid consistency. She was like, this creature was like spiritual. And I could vaguely see the clothes that was like cuffs around the hand, or just parts of the uniform or whatever that had on. And it said in a male's voice, it asked me a question and answered it at the same time with the affirmative and a question said, you a teacher? You're a teacher. But it didn't say it twice, it said it. And you can't do that in human vernacular. You can't ask a question at the same time with the same words. But this creature did that in a heavy male voice. And I responded truthfully. I said, yes. Yes, I am. Then when I sit back down, she was tapping on the inside of my left arm. And then I looked, and she was tapping, and she would start saying, baby, baby, baby. But her hand, it's a real small, little thin hand, but It turned into something like plastic, like a little plastic cone. A little tiny hand tapping on my arm saying, baby, baby, baby. And I was thinking, what the hell? And so when I came out the office, I told the brother and sister that were with me exactly what happened. And they can bear witness to it, would you? In fact, I told all of you in class that night or next night.
Yes, I bear witness to it.
You know, I told all of you all in class, if you remember that. And then probably a few days later, they start coming out with these commercials on TV with all these people with the tiny little hands. The little tiny little rigid hands. Do you all remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to get you to understand it's not your imagination. You follow me? These things are happening in a superficial reality. And I can tell you, don't be alarmed by it.
This is Brother Hotep. I bear witness to what Brother Moon is saying, because when he was telling us, and he brought up a diagram on a piece of paper here, and he's showing us, and I was listening at him, and I'm looking at what he was drawing, and sure enough, the commercial came on TV, and it showed the same thing that he was telling us and drawed on that piece of paper. So I bear witness.
Yeah, and a lot of people ask me what it meant. Now I'll tell you how you do a timeline. A timeline is when I was taken up in 2013. A lot of people thought it was mythological, it was just some stuff I made up or I experienced in a dream or something. You know what I mean? No, this was indeed real, and what I'm giving you right now is exactly real. And what the brother was describing happened to him at night in the bed, that too was real. Okay, but in 2013, when I was taken up, I was standing by, looked like a table, and I was talking to Malachi right in front of him. He was very soft-spoken, and there were beings around. It looked like the deck of the Star Trek, but they were dressed in white. They all had their backs turned to me. It's been my experience that when you in other realms and planets and worlds, that when beings have their back turned to you, or they have a little fan over their face, like the old ladies in church, the little wooden handle fans, that they're, reptoid beings, insectoids. They don't want you to see their form. But anyway, I was telling him I can't wait to get back to you all to tell you everything that happened. And his expression changed. He got so serious. He said, "Don't tell those mortals anything." Now that didn't sit well with Brother Amun, because I know there is no big or small in the eyeball. Say it again.
Why do you think he said that?
Well, I don't know why he said it, but I know it came out of a personal position. I don't want to say it's selfish, but I don't want to, try to figure out what it was he meant or what he was thinking, but I know what I was thinking. It didn't set right with me. Because I know if you all don't know, you can't prepare, and, you'll necessarily, but I do know this. If you go back and read, what's the name of that book he was speaking about the Anunnaki and the Lost Book of Enki. I sent you all PDFs of that. And when Anu asked to have a lot of the hybrids brought up to the Nibiru, and they did bring them up to Enki and Murdoch, etc., or Malachi. But now, when Anu invited them to dinner to eat, because when you drink water and eat food on the Nibiru and spend time there, then you too become immortal. And before that could happen, they all revolted against that and said, no, send them back to Earth so they can die like the rest of them. So for whatever reason, I'm not going to say that it's jealousy or fear of their position, because that's not logical to me. But I did consider the possibility that they just enjoy you the way you are as Lulu Amilu, primitive slaves, workers, that they can abuse, rape, work, torment, violate, and I know that negative beings, they get energized from negative emotion, from your fear, your confusion, your hatred, your anger, your prejudices, your jealousies, and your insecurities. That creates an energy and atmosphere that they feed on. Like in the fog of war, they really thrive in those kind of situations, right? So, I don't know. I can tell you something else is strange. I bet nobody can answer for me logically. Every time I'm up there and on other worlds, which is very frequently, I can walk past one of those brothers and I have a, I just try to open up a conversation because they'll say, we'll kill you, And I'm like, what? And they're gone before I can say, like, for what? Why? Where is that coming from? So, it's a lot of things I'm confused about myself, but I'm not confused about this. I don't like everything that they do, these beings. Now, if you start thinking of them as benevolent and angelic and good and all these things, you'll be sadly mistaken and very much deceived. Because you all created in their image and likeness, even when you scripturally go to, and God said, let us create man in our image and our likeness. We're not talking about singularity. We're not talking about one God, but a race of extraterrestrial beings. This us and we, right? And you yourselves know that people here on earth are not all positive, but they're a conglomeration of, there's many different things, and some even have clashing energies where that you don't think, you can say, well, I don't like her, or I like him, but what about her? I don't know nothing. I don't feel anything one way or the other. They're like in some gray area. You know what I mean? So these beings, they're like that too. There's good and evil in every species, right? But it seems that I find myself frequenting a lot of the disagreeable ones, but not all the time. And I keep finding myself trying to find out, see it in a positive light, or maybe they meant this, or maybe they meant that. But when I conclude the whole thing, it's just like the question you asked me, what do you think he meant by that? I don't really know where it came from, but I can tell you that I don't have a positive feeling about it. That's as close as I can get to an answer, okay? And it didn't hinder me from coming back and telling you all. You see me telling you right now?
Yes.
There was a war in heaven. Son, there was a war in heaven. This is it. A war against truth and lies. A war between good and evil. All right? And these creatures are trying to make evil fair seeming, and of course, make good seem evil. Are you following me? It's like when they raided the Capitol on January 6th. Right after they started saying on the news that it was Antifa that did it, right? Everybody remember that? Now you gonna believe the devil or your lying eyes? Antifa is a black organization, so they were saying that it was black people that did that. You know that was them dressed up like animals and beasts and doing everything. That was white. That was 99% white people, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, why do they lie? The devil is a liar. You follow me? So they do that all the time. It's become a part of their makeup. It's just lying all the time. It's like, they want to, black people are such and evil beings, and you got to press your door when they walk by, and this, that, and the other. But let me show you the elephant in the room. These mass murders that's going on in the United States. 99.9% of the time, they're unprovocated, no motive. I mean, they just killing for the sake of killing. Breaking into schools and shooting up all these children in movie theaters and people in churches and all this supermarket, people they don't even know, so they can't be upset with the people. They're just murders. The devil's a liar, and a murder is the foundation of creation. Now, they got everybody thinking black people are evil, but I want you to tell me, every time you see these mass murders on TV, when they do surface, what do they look? Somebody describe them to me.
Caucasian.
Who are these damn devil murderers killing everybody senselessly?
What we call white people.
I understand. But they got you psychologically and subliminally believing that the troubles come from Antifa. You follow me? I don't dismiss what I'm saying, but I want you to analyze it. There's some deep doo-doo right there, some serious stuff. Because not only are you blaming the wrong people, not all the time, because you got some terrible drive-by, clown, but they do it on personal levels, what they get things vindication for some personal beef or whatever. But this senseless murder, you know what I mean, and eating people, Jeffrey, that's wrong. You follow me? Unprovoked murder like that. I'm just saying, That's pure evil in the deepest existential sense of the word. All right, let's go back to Holy Tablets here. We'll reopen to 13. It is then that the shams, passenger crafts, and that's those crafts that you see. You want to see what they look like. Look up Ed Walters, Gulf Breeze, Florida. UFOs. Write it down. And don't be mentally lazy and dismiss what I ask you to research. Ed Walters, Gulf Breeze, Florida. UFOs, YouTube. And you see the shams. They have a base there under the water as well. They look like crowns.
I believe I heard one of them.
Yeah. You may well have, I don't know, but they're silent when they move. Most spoofer, I'm sorry, say it again.
Maybe they make like a beeping sound or something?
No, they don't make any sound at all.
I must have had another break.
No. I'm not saying that you didn't, have an experience with the craft that made a sound, son. That's not what I'm saying. That was not my experience. I'm telling you that these specific crafts, these spoofer, these shafts, these crown-shaped crafts that are used by the Anunnaki, they don't make a sound. You got many civilizations out there, some 100,000, some a million years advanced over Earth. Some less than that. And you have many crafts out there that are made on Earth right here. Lockheed Martin and Skunk Works, the government put, back engineers crafts, and they fly around too, and some of them are a little Fred Flintstone, make a little noise or what have you. You follow me?
Right.
But you can't imagine some craft from interstellar space making a combustion sound, what I mean, fire shooting out the back and all that old caveman type stuff that people are awe-stricken by. Wow, they really are advanced. No, they're not. No, they're not. That's tantamount to trying to create the wheel or fire or, it's nothing. And that's why they're trying to hide the reality of extraterrestrial involvement in Earth, because they want to keep you under the spell that they're God with their image on the money and all through all the books and that they're the top of everything and the supreme being when they were only created as food. That's it. It's a sad reality. You've been hoodwinked and Plymouth Rock landed on you, so let it go. But I tell you what your most dangerous enemy is the black devil. No, your second most dangerous, because the first most dangerous is your own inner being, the devil within you. Okay? Now, on the Beirut, you had 400 species broken up into 3 sets of 144,000. You had the Agigi. Those were the disagreeable ones that when the fallen angels came down, and many of you that ordered packages now, I made a point to put the 200 fallen angels, one of the books in there. I want you to revisit some of these things. The second group was the Denier. That means the righteous ones of the rocket ship. And then the third group was the Riskians. Now, these are benevolent by nature, and these are the head of all the species. And they had many mixed species from different star constellations, such as yourselves here on Earth. The Christians later took the concept of the 144,000 and the rapture, used it in their Bible. Now, if we are blocked, and coming to get you all, and what happens is that when they choose to come and get you or abduct you, however you want to define, rapture you, the sham will situate itself over your residence of where you are, the chosen locale, and you feel a strong wind like a tornado. I want you to remember what I'm telling you. And it'll be so strong you'll think that the whole building that you're in is going to be sucked up. And you might even grab the mattress to try to hold on out of fear or confusion. But unless you're a master, you can't even hold back. You're going to instantly shoot up that tube, right? And you feel like you're sitting in a chair. But it's actually a position you're in, and it's thing that you can closely describe on earth they call mystery foam that they have around you to position you that way. And you're wrapped up like kind of like a mummy so that you'll be in a firm, you won't be flailing all over the place. When you get inside these shafts, they take you up through the bell part in the bottom. You'll be facing something, a large instrument like a fan, and it's rotating clockwise. And then there's a fan over your head that can rotate clockwise or counterclockwise, meaning it will take you into the past or the future. Because a lot of these crafts that you think are interplanetary, intergalactic, or interdimensional, and they're time travelers. What I'm saying is that most of the extraterrestrials that come here, hold on, are really you in the future. Patah, I'd like you to, yeah, that's right, they're you in the future. Yeah, that's right. They're coming back in the past because a lot of things that's happening in the future, 100,000 years and more in the future, are very disturbing, and you have to go back to the point of the trauma. Or if you build a house on sand, you have to correct the foundation, right? You can't start with the roof. So they have to come back to make 97 corrections with you all, because you know they were already informed you when they came here, like on Star Trek. No matter what world you go to, don't interfere with the population, right?
Yes.
But they came here because they wanted the gold to repair their atmosphere, a hole in the ozone layer. This is real. And while they were here, they got tired because they were so sophisticated. They felt that they were too important to do the work, so they threw down the tools. But the elders demanded that the work will be continued. So the head scientists, among which was Enki and Ariska Gale and Nanti and, Shah Rester, they started coming together to try to figure out how that they could create a Lulu Avilu, or primitive worker, to continue the work. And Enki said, well, and going around the planet, I saw such a creature. And he's talking about the Homo erectus, the chimpanzees, the lairs, orangs, and etc. And they used them as a genetic hanger in which to splice their DNA to upgrade them. But then they surgically detangled some of the nerve ganglia in order to keep them from ascending up consciously to ask questions. They wanted them smart enough to do the work and follow instructions, but not wise enough to ask questions. Are you following me? So they were cut off as enocytes, or forgetful beings, surgically. You got me, enos? Right. I'm trying to squeeze the elephant in the thimble and try to bring you up to speed on exactly what's happening here and with you. And they're back to try to correct their mistakes in order to smooth things out up in the future. Now, Patah, what chapter was that? Was it chapter 6, tablet 1, about the electron, proton, neutron grid, etc.?
Tablet 15.
Okay, chapter 6, tablet 15. I need you all to go there too. And hold it. Chapter 15, and what tablet was it? Okay, it was tablet 15, and we started on what verse? You remember? I'll find it from there. All right. So it's important for us to revisit these things, because I want you all to have a clear understanding of what's happening. And brother, when you say that you're experiencing these negative things, I don't want you to confuse or conflate silence with you're the only one. Are you following me, son?
Yeah.
And I want to commend you and tip my celestial hat for you having the courage to come out and say that, because a lot of people here are experiencing similar things, but they dread repeating that in public because they want to be ostracized, this, that, and the other, right? But you understand that we're family here. We're trying to get this thing right. That's all, okay? So again, I tip my celestial hat to you for your courage and honesty. But you're not the only one. Are you following me? A lot of people are being plagued by these dreaded energies and these negative beings. You hear me? Vampire-type beings. We had one sister in Florida, our older sister, that was always talking about, they handcuffed me at night, and they behind me trying to bite me on my neck, bite me on my neck, and this, that, and the other. I'm like, I hear you. I know, I understand. But that's coming from you and your negative. Stop lying so much. Stop lying. That's coming from you. You know, you need to clean your mind out and get yourself together and stop lying so much. You take it in position of the devil's vibration, and then you open the door to him, because, see, we're all surrounded by negative and positive entities and energies all the time. And they study you, and they look at your light, your aura, and they look at the color changes. Because when your thoughts make the light changes fluctuate, and when they see colors like green and blue and what have you, the agreeable ones are attracted to you. They circle around your crown mold and they drop down into you and create a heavenly, environment or situation. But when your thoughts are disheveled and confused and negative and what have you, you project a light that's kind of amber or red, or some of you even gray or black. And everybody see with a black or gray aura, run, because you're in a situation there that this being is really thinking about the Most Highness, ugly things you could imagine. But when they see these negative colors in your aura, then the negative ones are attracted to you, and they too circle around the top of your crown molar, where your third chord is. And like a little girl jumping rope Dutch, they know just when rhythmically to jump in. They go through the soft spot in your head, they download into your body, and they bring that hell to you. You got it? So it wouldn't be right of me to keep letting you know what's wrong and not giving you the solution. I'm telling you the solution is that you have to keep programming yourself with truth and positivity. And it's got to be 24/7, because cell phones and satellites don't stop when you get sleepy. All right? So I'm trying to say, order these spiritual packages for me, and don't just put them on your mantelpiece of TV, let them collect dust, and think because they're in your house by some form of osmosis, you're going to start getting protection. No, you got to really start playing these things 24 hours a day, and I'll tell you which ones to play all the time, right? The ones to frequent, right? Because I got a lot of them that are information. And if you think to yourself, well, they're just rigged by him or something, you got that right. Because the kind of information that I want to give you to help you to transform and protect yourself and prepare you for the shift, there's nothing that they have in books, because most of them don't know, and the ones that do would never tell you. But I definitely know, and I was sent here as your guide in order to guide you back, home, right? And so all information comes from all, and I have to arrange and gather this information in a way that's most effective for your growth. Are you following me? Because there will be a new heaven, a new earth, and the former things will pass away. And they are passing away. Look at the book of Revelations in the Bible. You grew up confused about, and terrified, and plagues, and mother against children, father against sons, etc., earthquakes in diverse places, plagues, and all. You can't tell one season from another. And these prophecies are really happening. Look at Syria and Turkey. And as far as the rapture, just look at these United States. They're talking about all these unidentified flying objects they're encountering all over the country, shooting them down, etc. There was a balloon they said was from China, but the others are nondescript. They don't go into too much detail about them except that they're not attached to a balloon, right? So I'm telling you, the invasion is on. I haven't had another doctor here, Dr. Rashmi Huda, a Hindu, and she is a shapeshifter too. I'm telling you that a lot of this pharmaceutical, look it up in the Greek, it's sorcery. These devils in the medical profession, they're seated with these negative entities. These extraterrestrial beings are here on Earth, and they're walking around disguised as people, and they're tormenting you all and killing you and doing every other horrible thing. You follow what I'm saying? Now, you will find out that I'm telling you the truth one way or the other. I hope you find out on the right side of the ignorant pole. I really do. I'm doing my best to make sure that you get there. But, yeah, she's a shapeshifter as well. One perfect example is that I got bit by a black widow spider. and on my leg, on the top of my thigh, and it was really getting really infested, really bad. And so I went to Dr. Huda. She checked it out, what have you. And then she told me she sent the prescription for the antibiotics into CVS. And I went down there, and they said no prescription like that exists. And they called her, she wouldn't answer. So I went back to her 3 times, and 5 times for me calling on the phone, she said that she sent the prescription in. It got to be like a running joke that they were laughing when I got there. Mr. Darrensburg, there's no prescription like that. We don't have anything from Dr. Huda. And so I had to drive all the way to another city to Macon, Georgia, to a clinic in order to get prescriptions for the black woman thing. But now I'll tell you, I was in her office and she was saying on the speakerphone over and over again, from out of nowhere, Mr. Darrensburg, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm not trying to kill you. No, you were there. You just told me your experience.
Yes, that is correct. I was there within that day, and I heard her say those words. Mr. Darrensburg, I'm not trying to kill you. That's not what I'm here for.
And she's a damn lie. That's exactly why she's there.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So what I'm saying is that don't think that you don't have people in your workplace or in your schools or even in your family or even in your mirror. That's what, yes, I said it. Even in your mirror. That are not these shape-shifting evil beings. They are. And this misconception, misdirection about devils up underground and red leotards with horns and tails and pitchforks and this, that, and the other, get that out your mind. Let me ask you a logical question. How can the devil be underground and all this hell is up here with us? He's walking to and fro on the earth, isn't he? Isn't he? That's right.
Yes, he is.
That's right. So don't, wherever the devil is, that's where the hell is. Okay. Now, and they don't like me teaching, I can tell you that now. You know that. How do you draw that conclusion logically? Even a person that's a very mild-mannered like Martin Luther King, talking about he would like start a poor people's campaign so that garbage people, the people that did menial labor, could be brought up to a living wage, and he would like black and white children to be able to play on the red clay of Jordan. You know, can't we all get along, Rodney? All that type of thing, the love and this and that and the other. Oh, you know, that type of thing. To the real devil, that's an affront. Worthy of murder, you should be murdered for that. Now, whether you agree with the man or you didn't, unless you Satan, you know that it was nothing he was doing that deserved to be murdered. But they're not trying to assassinate the head of the Ku Klux Klan or the skinheads. You better wake up and stop being stupid. So now, how much more the things that if they don't want people to be conscious and emotionally stable and reconnected with divine love, which is your core, then how much more are they angered by my presence and what I teach and the way I teach and prove things, Star Movers? How much more? That's right. If they want to kill politicians like Eldridge, Cleaver, and all these different people, you know, and religious figures, they want to kill all these people for even trying to stand up for what's right or tell the truth in any way, then you know what I'm saying is really a boilerplate issue. Now, these shams again. If we are blocked, we shall continue to try to abduct you up until the lunar logging of the 26th point in June, when the Earth positions itself in the location of revolution of Earth year 2030. Now, let me be clear. That's not meaning that you can be taken up until 2030. That's not what's said. Malachi wrote a 3-piece tablet, but it was in the form of papers, and he said, altering that AMUN would take all of you up before 2030, August 12th. AMUN without the ray on it, right? So he is talking about me, of course. And anybody that's not in denial, thinking it's a river in Egypt, knows that by now, right? Okay. Of the Gregorian calendar. This is what the so-called Christians call the rapture. Know this, my child. In a little longer, the 12th point in the month of August, when the planet called Earth positions itself in the location of revolution of Earth in the year 2043. Again, you can't be taken up by then. What they're saying is that the Nibiru parked on the other side of the asteroid belt or the hammered bracelet, and when the vortex opens up again, that they have to depart then, right? They're going to leave planet. And won't be back for another 25,000 years. You imagine how much hell you can incur in that? Okay. Gregorian calendar, this vortex will reopen, and we must depart with or without you. So be prepared. I'm here. You better listen. My child, listen and understand. These crafts are coming to pick you up, their children. Now, I'll go on a little bit. The planet top, Earth, is shaking off its disease, which is the human being. The disease is the human being. Because he has abused and destroyed the natural law and order of Anu, or nature, by polluting the water, the soil, air, etc. You are meant to exist in a universal harmony, in a natural order, with the Netherit made. You must align your Ba soul and tune your cat body on the same vibrational level with Anu, or nature. I'm not on a verse, this is something else. As you walk, awaken from the tomb of ignorance, from the blinding light into eternal darkness again. Sound right reasoning. You will see how many still walk aimlessly without a guided path in the blinding light called religion, be it Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, and for many, nothing at all. You will understand that for you exists an inner duty which will enable you to emanate the guidance conveyed to you by the sacred elders. They who have provided you with information for realignment. Okay? Now, if we can go to, and if you want information about this dimensional shift, write down this. I want you to type in Google the Mandela effect, YouTube, and start your search. And you will have inescapable evidence, even in your Christian Bible, King James Bible, where everything is changed because this is a new heaven, a new earth coming in. For example, where it says, one day that the lion and the lamb were laid down together, now it says, the wolf and the leopard and the kid will lay down. You know, it's not, in other words, these things. So a lot of people misinterpret it. What they're saying is that, yeah, they changed a lot of the Bible. They got New World Bible. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if your grandmother gave you a Bible 50 years ago, it's not the same Bible that you have in your hand right now. And if you don't believe it, go get it and I'll prove it right this second. Don't play with me. If this stuff is too hard for you to wrap your mind around, then maybe you're in the wrong place. You just can't handle the truth. And you're not going to make it. But if I tell you something and you disagree with it, or you're confused by it, all you need to do is just ask me to prove it. Right? It's the truth you're looking for. All right? Okay. Chapter 6, tablet 15. And if you don't believe I'm who I am, I can prove that too. Again and again and again and again and again. Let me ask some of you all that's been around a long time. When was the Prophet Mustafa Muhammad Al-Amin born? If you don't know, look it up. And when did he make his ascension, or what you call die?
Was that after the Messiah Jesus says he's going to go away and give you and send you another comforter?
Yes, that's in the Bible that Jesus said that. That is expedient for me to leave you. But I will send in my stead a comforter who will come to you in all truth. Right? He was speaking about Mustafa Muhammad Ali. But what I'm asking is the birth date. How you doing in Bonton Lake, Lazy Lake, Bonton Lake, Terry?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Okay.
All right. Round better, everybody.
I'm glad to hear you, family. Okay, what I'm asking is the birth date of Mustafa Muhammad Ali. Peace and blessings of the Most High be upon him.
It wasn't June. What is June? It wasn't June 26th, huh?
What I'm looking for is the year of his birth and the year that he departed, or what you call died.
570.
570 AD. Until what?
2030.
No.
2030.
No, Muhammad. Say it again.
632.
632. So from 570 to 632. How old was he? When he was actually 60. No, he was 62.
62.
61. Right. 62. All right, now do the math. And I'm revealing like the brother. Even though I'm a timeless being, I don't get old in the conventional sense. I was born in 1951. And I was taken up in 2013. How old was I when I made that ascension? Somebody. 62 years old. Now how do I bend that and to make it fit? Now I want you all to Google this. Bright light UFO ascending and descending over the Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, YouTube. Bright light UFO ascending and descending over the Aqsa Mosque or Dome of the Rock. Dome of the Rock is easier. Mosque in Jerusalem, YouTube. Now, for those of you who've already done that, what do you see? Well,
it's a bright light over it.
A ball of light that is shot up through the seven heavens at what speed?
Faster than light speed.
That's right. Well, that bright light that you saw shoot up, that was me. And that's from the Magaraj, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end, when you had Muhammad that made the sacred journey from the precincts in Mecca to Jerusalem. And those that saw that and bore witness said I was going on a burak, a white light being. That was that light. That's the only way they could describe it at that time. And then I went and I went inside the Aqsa Mosque and I stepped on a rock. My footprint is still embedded in that rock. And I made the ascension up through the seven heavens on that night. The night of power, when the angels and the Ra, all of them came down. The night of power was the most wonderful night. And I'm still moving those stars in the heavenly creation and pulling it down to you all and performing miracles. And better than that, I have most of you doing things just like that. Am I right or wrong? Are you people here performing miracles?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. That's a wonderful thing. So that proves to you about my character. I'm not here to be a central figure that's charismatic to any certain belief or to be a big guy. I don't want people to follow me. I want to walk with you all. Behold, I looked at Mount Zion and to the Lamb, and with him 144,000, with their father's name written in their foreheads. Are you following me? Because I already know there is no big or small in the eye of all. Right? But I can be confirmed easily by anybody looking for the truth. You want to prove me up? Now, when you do, I'm not going to ask you to prove who you are because you already explained that silently. Okay, now, verse 128 or 127. Let me know when you all are there. That'll be page 585 in the softback. Need some help with finding that. It's chapter 6, tablet 15, verse 127. Now, don't be bored by what I'm revealing to you because it's going to all come together. I love it when a plan comes together. 127.
Got it.
All right. The rest of you, do you have it?
Yes.
And our sister Joanne Trudy is here with us tonight. Are you still here, Joanne?
I'm here. I am here.
See, I know you have a holy. Bless your soul. You have a holy tablet too, right?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm at that verse. I'm at chapter 6, tablet 15, verse 127. Yes.
Very good. All right. The secret number as found as the seal Muhammadra or Mohammedan in the back of the dollar bill. Found as 13 steps on the pyramid, 13 letters in the Nuit. Coptus, 13 stars forming the 6-pointed star, 13 5-pointed stars equaling 65, which is 11 for the 11 tribes of Canaan. 13 stripes, 13 olive leaves, 13 arrows, symbolic of the original 13 colonies, the phoenix bird transformed into the eagle. You have the eye above the pyramid, absent of the cornerstone, for the eye sits in the cornerstone, the eye of Osiris, father of Osiris, husband to Isis, who was called Diana, Artemis, Phoebe, Cynthia, Sybil, Ishtar, and Astaroth. She is the symbol of the crescent moon. The ancient Greeks used the crescent as an emblem of universal mother of all living things. The Virgin Mother. Okay, let's go down. Okay, now let's go to 141. Skip ahead a bit. On the other side of the pyramid, urn and 5-pointed star publicly, 6-pointed star privately. They meet with the As-Salamu Alaykum, which is returned by Alaykum As-Salam, and the model of strength and fury called the Order of the Eagle of Skull and Bone, with a great owl as their overside and the eye of the owl as a symbol. So a lot of you all, if you ever see or hear owls when you have negative experiences, remember that means the Anunnaki are around. When you go through this picture of the fourth kind, where they abducted all those 1,000 people that night, in what city in Alaska was that? Nome, Alaska. Google it, write it down. This is a class. This is not a religious place. And I'm not here to confirm your erroneous beliefs. I'm here to give you the facts, relevant facts. Oh, it's true that grass is green and water is wet, but what is that going to do for you? You really want to wake up? You're in the right place. Look up.
I got a question.
I'll do my best.
Well, when you see them owls or whatever, and they are around, those are negative Anunnaki that are around you?
Probably, but let me qualify that. I'm not trying to imply that every time you see it. Sometimes when you see an owl, you just see an owl. But now let me show you the connection. What is the word that you learn as a Nawabian for the force of creative will?
Who?
Who? And what's the sound that an owl makes?
Who?
That insinuates the wise old owl. That's right. Who? The force of creative will, right? The devil pretending to be God. You follow me? But I'm not trying to imply that every time you hear or see an owl, it's the devil. All I'm saying is that look for the signs, okay? You may be seeing or experiencing an owl just because it's an owl, okay?
Okay.
But now you know more. Now you know more than you did before. That's all I'm saying. 144 with the great owl as their oversight, and the eye of the owl as a symbol. Now here we go. 145. This is what I wanted to give you all. The light renders the Illuminati a member of the Illuminati, but a new light, other than the fire, is here. See that again. Amen. Amen. The keys to future luminaries, called the sons of the green light, are electromagnetic forces, and you know that's angelic beings, just like Ray's angelic beings, and you are angelic beings. These forces affect the rhythms of life and the appearance and extinction of species within the Earth's magnetic field. The higher evolution will give a better understanding of how electric forces alter biological rhythms, and will allow atomites in this conscious time zone to receive whole light beings right? So every night you have an OBE, your spiritual essence, raises up the vibration, and acts freely on your flesh, travels up the light cord of your spine, which is Jacob's ladder, and it gets to the crown mold, raises up the vibration, causes the tube to expand the opening, like woman dilating, and it gives birth when the light leaves the temple. The inside of your head, it goes to that etheric tube, and you feel like you're flying or floating in a dream. Everything you think of comes true right away. Every place you think of being, you're instantly there. That's the spirit, unhindered. That's right. God unchained. That's you, a free spirit. And anybody that's observing you with spiritual eye, they'll see this ball of light. A lot of times you misinterpret them as meteorites or comets or something in the sky. You call them fallen stars. A lot of times that's people falling down, fallen angels being cast down. On the last post that I gave you, and you got yesterday, those that are wise among you are checking out the post that I give you and know that these are divine gifts. And you're going to find links on there of Spectrum 1 commercial where you see all these folks falling down from heaven. Right? How many of you checked that out?
Yes.
I saw that.
Yeah.
All right. And then one of them says, I'm the prince. I'm a prince and I need your help. And I took you all to a biblical verse that showed that Jesus was at war with this prince, these princes, right? It's the prince of darkness, the fallen angels falling from the skies. That's what it is. And they're trying to tell you in the last days, and they're trying to raise up resistance among devils to tell them that, they're under assault. And, everything's being revealed. You got it? And their time is up. You saw a kayak commercial on the post that I sent you just yesterday. And they're at a resort, and you got like 6 of these reptilian beings sitting around in purple robes around the table with all those teeth talking and laughing about how they got the normals, as they call you all, the normals subdued, but raising prices so high you can't afford a vacation. So they got everything to themselves. In other words, they're driving the truth underground and trying to bring the evil, demonic lie into light, Trump. Are you following me? And I know some black devils always talking about Trump, my boy. I'm like, nigga, you say he possessed, but the devil is what it is with you. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to try to, I'm not here to tell you that. But anyway, you heard it. Okay. And then when they hear the splash in the water, they turn around and say, who are you? How'd you get here? He said, kayak. I looked it up and they, in other words, give me an affordable ticket, and that's how I got to this resort. And they turn to each other and they say to each other, well, we're going to have to eat him. And the other one say, well, you do it. You eat it, right? But that's symbolic. See, when commercials don't make sense to you, they make sense to somebody because they paid thousands and thousands of dollars to produce it and air it, right? You think they're just talking nonsense?
Right.
They're talking to you. They're talking to you, and there's a message. Well, they may not be talking to you, but they're talking, and there's a real message there, an expensive one, a very well thought out one, right? If they know what time it is, so don't you be deceived, beloved. All right. Now, 45 again, the lightning is Illuminati, a member of the Illuminati, but a new light other than the fire is here. The keys to future luminaries, called the sons of the green light, are electromagnetic forces. These forces affect the rhythms of life and the appearance and extinction of species within the Earth's magnetic field. The higher evolution will give a better understanding of how electric forces alter biological rhythms and will allow Adamites in this conscious time zone to receive whole light beings who will give instruction of the next ordering of evolution in our universe. The key speaks of how the Earth species has a direct light arc. This direct light focus, which controls its biological rhythms. Enos, as some forgetful beings, will soon learn that his life system is not directly dependent upon the solar magnetic field to regenerate their biological rhythms. In other words, your spiritual beings having a physical experience. When you came here, at what you call your birth, your mother and father, you were as a baby inside your mother, you were a light being that were injected inside of your mother and father 3 months before they came together cosmically, even as a spiritual light, whole light being that you're speaking of. And you were fully mature, well, immature in a lot of ways, ignorant enough to rebel against your creator. But the point I'm making is that even when you were born after the 12 months that they called 9 months, and before the cord was cut, you were still a spiritual entity, even though you had this bud clinging to the light as a fungus. You know, that you were not dependent upon outside atmosphere for breathing with lungs. Neither were you dependent upon the outside sun, where heat with the inner sun and your solar plexus, right? Until the doctor turned you upside down and spanked you, and the pain caused you to cry, which forced you to inhale second or prana and this oxygen, which is very flammable, and it's circulated through your pyro or your nose around to your arterial circulatory system, and it eventually hit that inner light, that sun that makes you maintain a constant body temperature 98.6 of burn calories, etc. That inner fire, because when you exhale carbon, not just a sign of a fire burning, right? Let's be serious. Research what you don't understand. Don't just dismiss it. And then when it ignited that oxygen, a spark that was generated from that binded the spirit to the mud to create the living soul that gave you a zero time reference or beginning your life here on the physical plane as a part of Earth. And now you've forgotten who and what you really are, and I'm here to reconnect you with the reality of who and what you really are. All right? But many are called and few are chosen. A new source of light is now reaching our solar system and interpenetrating Earth's magnetic field, altering the biological rhythms. Its color is emerald green, not amber or red, right? Light contrary to the amber, red light. Oh, there it is. This is forcing the species to leave behind its old-time cell of perception on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. In other words, you got to snap out that lion. This must take place before the species can go into a new time cell of consciousness. As the arcs of light begin to change, a different light force is beginning to work with the electromagnetic forces. This is causing the magnetic field of the brain cavity to be sufficiently raised to a higher mental frequency. Yes, Lord. Allowing inosites of forgetful beings to receive whole light beings upon the reinsertion of the barytheric gland and the reactivation of the supreme melanin. It has previously been thought that the life forces of the Earth's magnetic field control the rhythms of life of all biological species, and living cells need only the light of our own portion of the electromagnetic spectrum to survive. Eocytes will have the brain of an electromagnetic computer and will be forced to adapt to an enlarged electromagnetic spectrum. The new electromagnetic frequency is an astrobiological threshold by itself. Your sun, by virtue of being a variable star, will be seen as having great limitations for future evolutions. Makes a journey within. This will be seen by a visible exchange of the solar polarity fields and by the magnetic mapping. Okay, Anukas, you brought us the article where the Earth's core is spinning, and it has stopped spinning. So what's happening is the poles are reversing, right? Now, how you be able to tell that is when you flush your toilet, you unplug your tub or sink. Now the water goes down in the vortex, but it goes clockwise. It spirals down clockwise. But when you start seeing it, like below the equator in South America, when they unplug theirs, it goes counterclockwise. When you see the water start going down counterclockwise, you know that the shift is complete, okay? I'm just giving you ways to verify and confirm the facts. All right. 163. Your sun, by virtue of being a variable star, will be seen as having great limitations for future evolution. That's right. Time up. This will be seen by a visible exchange of the solar polarity fields and by the magnetic mapping of inner solar magnetic lines rotating faster than the surface of your sun, of the sun. These changes will also affect the rotation of Saturn, and This will be seen as a periodic effect which will be noticed in the activity of the band of Van called its rings. Now, with Ta and Katat and people like that, a lot of you brothers and sisters that were here with me, we walk a lot, and we were walking from the supermarket one night, and what did we all witness in the sky in regards to the planets? But we're talking about the planetary alignment that we just read about in the Holy Tablets. They were here when we saw that. It happened more than just in 2005, May 5th, okay? This will be seen as a periodic effect which will be noticed in the activity of the band of asteroids called its rings. These changes are the result of new biological light controls being introduced by the new administrative order in conjunction with the Council of 9 Ether, not 6 anymore. These changes are necessary to prepare our moral evolution to overlap with whole light beings of advanced creation and the evoluting of new astral mutations. That's how you all are performing these miracles. New astral mutations will take place where new magnetic lines bring about the balances in the energy coupling from a proton-electron-proton grid to an electron-proton-electron grid. Here, the bioenergy field of the body inherits a new electron and positron pair. And the blood circulatory system inherits new magnetic lines of force. The ionized field around the blood cell loses its proton-electron-proton relationship to a new electron-proton-electron field as the life form is moved into the next phase of the electromagnetic spectrum. In other words, enocytes will be able to participate in higher evolutionary worlds, new heaven and new earth, right? Because his hemoglobin chain will shift, dimensional shift, right, with his paleogenetic tree to a new system of balance whereby a singular group. In order for enocytes to work with the next electron orbital level of the universal mind, become one with all again, your molecular density level will have to become less dense and grow more transparent, spiritual, you know. Enocytes must be completely remade anew by going through the energy grids that control his present biological arrangement so that he can be revitalized into new grids of attunement. Enocytes must go through the energy grid controlling cell division on his biological level of organization. A planetary biomagnetic grid controlling the collective species evolution. When enocytes go through these energy grids, they will activate new magnetic fields and displace his old planetary biorhythms. Contrary to what present-day geneticists say, the ultraviolet radiation will be controlled and will not destroy the sensitive genetic code called melanoma. It has already been claimed that ultraviolet radiation, when applied to the DNA at specific intensities, causes thymin to dimerize. When the embryonic growth is placed in an artificial environment, which is subject for long current magnetic injection, the former embryonic magnetic lines of force in the body can be changed. Through this process, the whole body can be biomagnetically recoded to adapt to a new biological environment without ever having to experience pain, according to the human physiological network. This process uses the fifth circulatory system, which opens the pain-coding mechanism and properly realigns the blood, lymphatic, and nervous circulatory systems to function in different biological environments. This is done in the event that a transfer of the species to a new environment is necessary for the survival of the Nubians. This is why our electromagnetic stage of evolution will itself be changed to allow for new patterns of ongoing evolution. Merkaba mechanisms give the cue for the timing of biological change by the Earth's magnetic cycles. These changes can take place in a matter of hours and remove whole species that have evolved in a geological time frame. In order for enocytes to work with the next electron orbital level of the universal mind, the all, your molecular density level will have to become less dense and grow more transparent or spiritual in order to participate in multidimensional realities. Inner sight must be completely be made anew. That's where you get the word new being, right? Thus you have Nubian or the new being. But specifically, inner sight must go through the energy grid controlling cell division